Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. For a role that was only supposed to last for one day, Kate Linder has certainly made Esther Valentine's presence known on The Young and the Restless. Celebrating her 40th anniversary is an incredible milestone, but it's also quite emotional because it brings back memories of Jean Cooper, someone she thinks about all the time, especially during this time of reflection upon her Genoa City stain. The escapades of Mrs. Chancellor and Esther still burn brightly in Linder's mind as she looks back on 4 decades that have brought her so much joy. And it's the October 1991 Masquerade Ball episodes that still get the star choked up when recalling to Soaps.com how one touching moment meant so much to her. In what Linder calls one of her favorite shows, Esther sings "Everybody Ought to Have a Maid" while dressed as a French maid, complete with a feather duster and showing off a little leg. What gets Linder every time is how the introduction went down at the beginning of that scene. Mrs. Chancellor, dressed as the Queen of Hearts, was the MC, and she introduced Esther, she recalls. She said something like, "Well, now ladies and gentlemen, I give you," she started to say, "I give you, my maid." But instead, she went, "I give you my, just a little beat, my friend." It's small moments like Catherine recognizing Esther's importance in her life that Linder loves remembering because it keeps Cooper close to her. "I feel like she's with me all the time," she admits. "I can hear her today. I hear her in my head saying, 'Really? 40 years?' And with Esther showing no signs of stopping. Linder has a few ideas on what her next steps should be since the inquisitive gal has gathered quite a bit of knowledge working at the Chancellor Mansion. "I've always thought it would be really interesting if Esther went to work at maybe Newman Enterprises or something, because people would think that Esther could never do that," she suggests. Linder adds that her character is a lot smarter than people know because she watched a lot, which would make her an asset in the corporate world. The one area the man-crazy Esther hasn't been so lucky is in the romance department, but Linder thinks there's still hope. Maybe she wouldn't screw up any relationships, she laughs. Perhaps Esther will get that torrid love affair after all. For more of our chat with Linder, including more memories of her time as Esther on The Young and the Restless and her favorite fan encounter, watch the entire video interview above. The camera opens on a quiet backstage dressing room. A mirror rimmed with glowing bulbs reflects the face of a woman who has portrayed Queen Esther for more than 4 decades. Her name is Miriam Rose, and her eyes sparkle with 1,000 stories of performance, faith, and transformation. We sit down with her for an intimate video interview, one that peels back the layers of time and reveals a remarkable journey. "It all began in a church basement with 20 folding chairs." Miriam laughs. "I had no idea that one role would become my life's calling." Miriam was 22 when she was first asked to play Esther in a small community theater production of the biblical story. It was 1983. The director was a friend from church, and the budget barely covered costume fabric and a few stage lights. "I remember reading Esther's words, 'If I perish, and something stirred in me,'" she recalls. There was courage there, not just the kind that stands before kings, but the quiet kind that walks into the unknown. The role fit her like a second skin. The way she walked, held herself, and even her silence on stage captured the gravity of a woman chosen for such a time as this. The audience saw it, the director saw it, and Miriam, though she didn't say it then, felt it. Over the years, Miriam's portrayal of Esther grew deeper, richer, and more layered. She studied the cultural history of Persia, read Jewish commentaries, and traveled to Israel to walk the ancient ruins of Shushan. "I didn't just want to act, I wanted to understand," she says. "Every year, I found a new piece of Esther in myself." The productions grew too. What began in a church basement expanded to community centers, then regional theaters, and eventually national tours. Thousands have watched her speak truth to power, plead for her people, and rise as a queen shaped by both fear and faith. What's most extraordinary isn't just the performance, it's the longevity. Miriam has played Esther almost every year for more than 40 years. People ask, "Don't you get tired of her?" Never. Because I'm not playing the same woman I played in 1983. I've changed. So has she. The video cuts to archival footage, grainy recordings from the 80s, stage photos from the 90s, more polished HD footage from the 2000s. Through it all, Miriam's transformation is visible, not just as an actress, but as a woman growing into her own voice. I went through a divorce in the early 90s. That year, Esther's heartbreak hit differently. Another year, I was battling cancer. I had just lost my hair to chemo when I stepped on stage with The Crown. The courage Esther needed, I needed too. Tears fill her eyes for a moment. She doesn't apologize for them. Her vulnerability is part of what has made her performance so enduring. Offstage, she's mentored dozens of younger actresses, many of whom now play Esther in productions across the country. Some have gone on to Broadway, others to film, but they all called Miriam their Esther. She taught us that Esther wasn't just a role, but a responsibility, says one former student in a cutaway interview. Miriam never played her like a queen on a pedestal. She played her like a woman with dirt under her nails and God in her heart.